welcome to another episode of the Being and Doing podcast, where I'm trying to invite people that inspire me, and in the hope that somehow by listening to these conversations, you will discover some new piece of your soul and start questioning things that you may have not questioned before. And today it's my great pleasure to welcome Gorica Mijović. Huh? Mijović. Sorry. I knew I stopped it. Yeah. So it's my great pleasure to welcome Gorica Mijović because as I mentioned to her before we started, there is something about the joy and the will to live in her personality that is very inspiring. And we are going to talk about um, the job and the passions. I mean, I think your job and passions are not separate, but
Yeah.
the job and the passion she has for the entrepreneurial endeavor she has started, but also somewhat we will touch upon somewhat of her personal journey. So welcome, and I'm really, really glad to have you in.
Thank you very much, Alex. I have been excited for waiting for this interview for a while now, and I'm happy to be here, really, and for our conversation to follow.
So, I normally start this conversation by asking you what are some words that you define yourself with? So, what are some
Mhm.
things that you would associate with yourself mostly?
Freedom would be probably the strongest one. Peace and love,
Mm.
I must say. Yeah.
And of those, which one was the most difficult to uh, fully embody?
Peace, absolutely. Because of all, you're excited about many things, want to do many things at once, if possible, not wait, I hate waiting. So I had
Uh-huh.
to learn how to really slow down, because in
Mm.
slowing down, you make better decisions and you learn about yourself and what you actually want to do.
Mm.
Sometimes it is not something that you feel passionate about instantly. That can be the direction, but the way you will do it and what will actually be the outcome of your work, you need to slow down and feel what would be the best outcome for you or for whatever your audience, your customers, depends, on the job or on the work you do.
Mm. Actually, I'm laughing because it's my process, and I'm like another message for me, which is sent but through my guests. But I maybe we can slow down on this one actually,
Mm-hmm.
and just sit a little bit with what was the challenge to allow you the slowing down, and how did you eventually um, or gradually get to a point where you now have ways of slowing down, and what are your ways?
Well, the consequences of me going too fast were definitely my health. You know how many people need to have health issues more or less serious in order to stop, because your body tells you slow down, sit down, lay down. You don't have to work every day, because I like to do something every day, but I learned what it means to just don't look like you're doing something. When you're doing it in your mind, in your soul, in your peace. But this was a really big challenge for me. So the health issue, the problems, the vision problems that I had also, not just the health issues. And then also I saw with years that my life is not balanced, like my work life, work home life balance was not in place at all. And I always asked myself, so you seem to be fine with this. Are you really fine with this? Because when you're younger, you think, okay, I got time for everything. And yes, you do. But sometimes, you don't know that everything will come when you want it to come. So when that doesn't happen, you just simply need to stop doing some things and go work on other fields. And
Mm.
this was a great challenge for me, because from a very young age, I played basketball for 14 years. So those were, two workouts per day, games and everything. And I
Yeah.
really enjoyed this dynamic. So when this era ended, obviously you're finding yourself, okay, what is the next thing I want to do? What job? Okay, I
Mhm.
studied something, but then it turned out that I never did something that I, graduated at university or my master's degree. No,
Mhm.
never done any work with that.
What was your master's degree? What was your
I graduated from Lindenwood University from Missouri, in the U.S., and I finished my human resources management, and then my master's degree was business administration. And I
Wow.
really love human resources field. I love that. It is still my passion, but I never really had the chance to work in it. Back here in Belgrade, Serbia.
Mhm.
I don't like how it works here. It's way different than in the U.S. I like it better over there. But anyways,
Mhm.
for me, the knowledge is certainly valuable because I discovered I use it in different ways, really multidisciplinary. I think most people who are eager to learn new things can use different skills in ways that you never dreamed of, honestly. When you talk about presentation skills or you like teaching somebody something, you have a bad teacher and a good teacher and teacher you just like to listen to this person no matter what they talk about. So this is something that I always wanted to become. Like I like it when people listen and when they hear me, actually, when I shape my message in such way so that I reach them. It is my job, it is my pleasure, ultimately, really, to do this.
Mhm.
So but the achieving the peace, back to that peace again,
Mhm.
it took years, honestly. It was not without the struggle, because when I returned from the US to Serbia, it's a different world after 6 years of
Oh
living
yeah.
abroad. And then I jumped back into the old ways, like how
Mhm.
people think, what's possible, what's not possible. So for me, it was always, I know it's possible, but I'll keep quiet about that because I just
Um,
didn't choose to be walking around and screaming, I can do this. I just said, okay, I do it not for them, for myself. And then when I'm happy, everybody else will see it. So, and
mhm.
that's where the peace came, when okay, I'm in a good place now. And then surprisingly or not, all other things fell into place. Personal life, emotional life, all these things that everybody wants to be in some kind of balance. Not in perfect balance, but that's okay. So it really took time, and spending time with myself, having business mentors, having people who are coaches who coach me on different things, because I also admire people who have this knowledge that after just a session you see a great thing that they gave to you.
Mhm.
Wow, not everybody can do that. There's many people who
Mhm.
do that these days, coaching, life coaches, and different things, but you need to choose somebody who is fit for you. So this helped me a lot, really.
And I really like the what happened for you in coming back from the US and allowing yourself to do your thing and let the thing emanate from you rather than you um uh kind of vocally saying things about
Yeah.
it. And I'm wondering um what has be needed for you to be able to just like kind of focus on your own track. I guess that's what I have challenges with because
Mhm.
there is the constant comparison and it's really important to kind of trust your own compass in a way.
Thank you for saying that very much, because I have a twin sister that I love very much. See, she's only 2 minutes younger. So I'm the
Oh
older
yeah,
one, you know.
yeah.
When I came back from the US, I must say I was seen by my certain family members as a failure, like
Mhm.
she came back, what's going to come out of her, because I finished all these schools over there. So why, what do we do with that around here? So I felt not the other people expectations, but
Mhm.
expectations for myself. Wow, I have to justify that I'm good, that I'll be fine.
Mhm.
So that was the internal struggle, to be honest. And I said, okay, I'll just sit with it because it's mine. It's how I feel. Maybe it's not real. I don't need to feel that way. I can feel better. And along my way, I mentioned in a few of my interviews that you and me talked about figures who appeared as colleagues in the work that I've been doing at the time, who said, wow, you're good at this, you're good at that. So you need to still receive some confirmations from the
Yes.
outside,
Yeah.
because you keep working and working and improving yourself, and it's small steps. But
Mm.
it's these small steps mean 90% of work. 10% is only what people see. Like, okay,
Mhm.
what do you do, how much money you make, or they don't even know that. But it's people see on the surface, they don't understand the work behind. And
Yeah.
it's really 80 or 90%, I would say, like under the water. It's a huge thing. And I myself understood what's below, and that's what's important for me, because it's the base of all
Mm.
that I do, and it's sacred to me. And it's how I keep myself motivated. Get up every
Mhm.
morning and feel butterflies. Like, not every morning, but
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
need to be excited to get out of your bed. Honestly, if you're not, you need to do something about that. Definitely,
Mhm.
there's many ways you can reach help, and we all recognize. When you feel it in your heart or in your stomach, okay, that's the way. That's the person I will speak to or address. But
Yeah.
it's really, really important that you keep doing what you feel drawn to. For me, sometimes I've done work for 8 years that I never got any money. I mean, I would be the zero, I would not be negative there, but I will just cover my expenses. But I was passionate about that. It was not my main job at the time, but then it became my main job. And
Mm.
in not the job, I never observed it as a job. It was for me like something I love and I want to share with other people. And I was doing it, all year around.
Yeah.
People would joke and say, you're like some crazy person that tells everybody they can fix their vision by doing exercises. I said, well, for me, it's such a revelation, and it changed me. Because I had a lot of limitations with my vision problems, and I stopped driving. I stopped playing basketball. I could not see a face of a person sitting across the table when you have lunch with contact lenses. I'm saying bad
Yeah.
correction with eye
Yeah.
aids.
Yeah.
So for me it was, wow, this is awesome. So many people wear glasses or contacts, so let's just tell them this is possible. But it all made sense, like 8 years. Why didn't it happen sooner? I was not
Mhm.
ready. I had
Mhm.
blockages that I need to work for a company. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you are more
Oh.
secure. You know what I mean?
Mm. Mm.
Although I always worked at startup companies where entrepreneurship was really, I loved it. Small teams, getting a new investor, another investor. So it was dynamic. I could never do a routine job. Simply, it's not my personality. So it was amazing time. And all this knowledge from previous life, I say, for these 8 years is actually taken over there. It's amazing. It all matches. And on the surface, has nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, I'm actually like really curious now, and maybe now we can introduce what you actually do first, and then we can dig in a little bit,
Sure.
because it's something I know, but we haven't yet
Mhm.
told it to the audience. So maybe like backtrack. You've mentioned your challenges with vision and how that impaired you, and how long did it last actually? That
Mhm.
you couldn't really do this, and what was the internal experience of all of that?
Well, I had perfect eyesight until the age of 21. So, I remember what it means to see perfectly. And I
Mm.
always took it for granted, because I had a lot of cousins, a lot of people around me who were wearing glasses, and I would even make fun of them, like,
Yeah.
oh, you're wearing glasses. How come you don't see? Then at the age of 21, I started developing myopia minus diopters. And that means you can see far. You can read nicely, but you can see who is waving. Is it waving at me, or what's
Mhm.
happening? So, and this was progressing pretty fast, along with astigmatism or cylinder. And I developed a disease called keratoconus. And I was told at the age of 26 that I will need to have my cornea transplants done by the age of 30. I was wearing glasses. I wanted to wear glasses in the beginning, but they told me, okay, you play basketball, take soft lenses, because obviously, how will
Yeah.
you do that? But then soft lenses did not help. I had to wear hard contact lenses, sorry, and those were a pain for my eyes. I never got used to them. I wore them in total for 4 years, total of 5 years with any eye aid. And I heard about something called vision training. Leo Angart, who was later my teacher. We worked together for 8 years. He was teaching it in Ljubljana in Slovenia. So I heard about that and said, that doesn't work for me. I need to have surgery. I was really depressed. I could not imagine what would happen with my eyes after the surgery. How will I live with these eyes for the rest of my life? I was, of course, very young at the time, and I just could not imagine what will happen. And the contact lenses only corrected my vision around 50%, which
Mhm.
means you cannot legally drive because you just don't see well. It really took me down like on the inside. I could work at my job, I would zoom in on the screen and I could see like this, because I could only see clearly until 25 centimeters from my face. That was it.
Mhm.
um, I did not believe it was possible for me. My great friend of even today, he told me that I need to go to this workshop. He paid for me. He purchased everything. He made me go because I thought it's a lot of money at the time. For me, it was really, you know, okay, 3 nights up there in Ljubljana and the travel and everything. So
Yeah.
he helped me. Actually, he pushed me to go. I went crying. I
Oh,
was
wow.
pissed that I need to go over there because he would not accept the money from me until I come back, actually. So when I came to the workshop, I observed, did not ask one question because there was 80 people at the workshop and there's waiting lists at the time up there. So I figured you are lucky to have a place, so just
Yeah.
shut up and listen, maybe there is something there. There was a lot of people with serious eye problems with, diopters 11, 12, 13, 14. This is serious. Strabismus, after 3 surgeries, no help. And all these people believed. So the energy really helped me just get quiet, learn what you need to be doing, go home and do your exercise. Otherwise, it will all be in vain. And I had actually the greatest motivation from that moment on because only option was surgery, and for me it
Yeah.
was end of the world, honestly. So I came back. I did exercises for 5 months. There were 3 exercises that I was doing, and another 2 for like eye relaxation because that's a crucial part to having any progress and having stable progress. And I had vision tests, which is great because you follow your own progress. You don't need to ask somebody, do I see more clear? You
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
can see it, and it's a great motivator. During this time of exercise, I quit twice because I had issues with my left eye that it just didn't progress as the right eye did. So I thought I just not possible for this eye. So I would quit and be all disappointed and everything. But then I come back to try some more, and there was progress. Really had nobody to support me, which I do differently today because I'm
Mhm.
now the roles have turned. Now I am the instructor of vision training. We have support after people go through the training because I understand what it means. And if you are not scared enough for your eyes, I was not smart. I was just scared, like what
Yeah.
would happen with my eyes. So it pushed me, I had to. That's how I felt. This is all I got. But many people may quit or doubt themselves and maybe do something wrong and don't have anybody to check with. So it really changed my life from May of 2012. I'm not wearing any eye aid. I have normal vision, perfect vision, can drive, can play basketball, can write, do anything with my eyes only. So for me it really was magic.
Mm-hmm.
It's really magic because I never before did I come across some teaching or exercises, because there's so many exercises today. It has nothing to do with optometry, ophthalmology, any kind of medicine or this field, um, people do miracles. Our body can do self-healing in so many ways that we are not even capable to understand, I believe. And with years and with, especially for the past 3 years, it came to light all different things that can be done by yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody can do exercises for you. You just need to decide that this is for you some kind of priority, and then go ahead and change your life. Because this happens for kids from the age of 8. Imagine getting rid of your glasses at the age of 8, and
Yeah.
like living a life like you never had them. It's a really big deal,
Yeah.
really, really.
And as I'm listening to you, there are a few things that come to me. One is deciding to choose yourself. And this is and also the necessity of helpers at time.
Mhm.
uh, so
My,
someone
my,
to kind of,
absolutely. There will always be this person who will turn on the light. If
yeah,
you're just a little bit open and admit that you have a problem, sometimes people don't admit.
yeah,
My family, I'm not saying they were not supportive, but they were like, she's doing something strange. Don't tell her anything, but we don't believe she's going to make it, because obviously this was not known to anybody in this
yeah,
region. It's been going on in Ljubljana for 26 years, but nobody in former Yugoslavia knew pretty much anything about it.
yeah,
So I knew I was by myself, and I would be happier if they would say, "Oh, great! You can do it. Come on, do this exercise." No, they were
yeah,
just quiet, because it was so strange for them. But there will always be a friend or somebody on the street. I'm not joking, who will turn on the light. It's amazing.
mm,
Nobody is alone. You can feel alone or lonely, but if you just come out, just come out, just go out and say, what's the worst thing that can happen? Okay, I can go to surgery, I already know that, so
yeah,
it's known, that's it,
yeah,
just go and try. For me, it took a lot of effort to just go there.
yes, of
Wow,
course,
Alexandra, you would not believe that. I
yeah,
even I even feel uncomfortable sitting around people I don't know, which I never felt like that because you just
yeah,
don't see. I lost those contact lenses probably 20 times because my eyes were so dry that they would fall out all over the place.
yeah,
So when they fall out, I sit and I have no idea where I am or where to go, honestly. It happened a
mm,
few times. So it's really, when I said limiting and when I said freedom, I really said, wow, so when your eyes work well, you have all the freedom in this world. Like, wow,
yeah,
how it's taken for granted. The eyes are there to, first of all, our security, to protect us. You need to see well.
mm,
If the lion comes around the bush and you don't see a lion,
yeah, yeah,
back then it was really serious stuff. So
yeah,
nobody wore glasses back then, or
yeah.
needed them. Amazing. Same people.
And I'm wondering as well, this is something that I've told you I would like to discuss, but there is we live in a world that's quite rational. Everything needs to be science-based. We live in a medical model, and this is not a judgment, it's just a
Mhm.
statement of what is at the moment. And obviously you've said that your family has kind of looked upon you with a bit of like, what is this weird thing that she's doing? Which I can even say for therapy or for psychotherapy, where when I speak to my family, it's still kind of like, this is weird, but like she's doing her thing. If it works for her, that's fine.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering, and I know that this is basically everyone's hero's or heroine's journey of finding things that are good for us, but I wonder how can we expand what's possible, because many people don't get the help they need, because we are so stuck in this idea that everything needs to be fully rational. And a lot of things are about going through an experience and only then being
Then you
able to
forget.
make judgments. So I'm wondering, now that you're on the other side, that you see that this paid off and all these
Mhm.
things, how can you speak to this without having it? I mean, it is a miracle. And yet it it's also sometimes that we need to kind of succumb to the mystery and just believe a little bit. And so
Exactly.
what's your relationship to belief? And also, I just need to ask you, because I think your hair is on top of the mic.
Mhm.
uh
Oh,
yeah,
sorry. Maybe.
yes, yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
does that, no worries.
So I fully agree with you. I noticed the same thing. That many people, not all, obviously, but people are stuck in the old ways. That's what I would say, or something they're used to. We all have one thing in common, and that is that we were all once small kids.
Yeah.
When a kid comes to my workshop, kid doesn't care if this is scientifically proven. If it's
Mhm.
fun, they will do it. If they see the progress, they will do it even more, because they're so excited to see happiness on their parents' face that they're like, wow, this works. So
Yeah.
this is the excitement that we need to keep through life. And it is hard because people tell, there's boundaries all over.
Yeah.
You can do that. You cannot do that. You cannot be a mom and have a job and that you love and work when you want and don't work when you want and have so much money or travel. Or, like, people are just telling you what you can and cannot do. In my workshops, I try that my message is so clear that I tell people, if you cannot do exercises 2 days a week, don't come,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because you need to ask yourself, can I do it 2 days a week, 30 minutes a day?
Mm.
Can it become your routine? But still, of course, in the workshop, there will be people who are scared, worried, doubtful. And I just have all the love in this world for them because they need more help. There's people who just come there and say, I totally know this because I've done this, and that. Just give me the exercises, I'll do it. Those are the easy examples because people are ready to receive. When people are not ready to receive, we have to remember that we were once there, you
Yeah.
know? So when I say I have all the love for them, I have understanding. I will stop and give them different examples, just don't talk about eyes anymore. Let's talk about different things. Let's talk about that a surgery where they actually cut you is possible in state of hypnosis with no anesthesia and no pain. There's so many things on this earth that are possible that if I didn't witness it or I didn't go through that, I don't, probably that's just a lie or somebody is, telling me not truths. Because I often get a question, so if this is like that, why does still so many people wear glasses? Why don't eye doctors or, why don't they promote this? And the answer is really simple. They didn't study about this in their books
Mm.
because the eye exercises come from ophthalmologist William Bates from New York from 19th century. So they're not from yesterday. They have a long tradition actually, but it's just something that's not mainstream. Why it's not mainstream, they can ask them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I choose to work with people who are open, who are curious. Sometimes people come there because they just want to see. They have perfect vision. They say, okay, I want to know what I can do when it happens, because they tell us
Mhm.
everybody will wear glasses at some point.
Yeah.
So is this really true? Absolutely not. You still have people who are 80, 90 years old today and not wearing glasses. But it's about how we go through life, how we accept things that happen to us, and what we do about them.
Mm.
Really, it's about that. And when you nail this down, anything that comes, oh, it's exercises for this, or it's ways how to make something or do something, you will give it a try. Why
Yeah.
not give it a try? If you don't, you are just richer for one more experience. Even if you fail, if you quit, you made a small progress. I had a lady who says, I had -6, I could not see anything, now I have -1, and it's like perfect vision, I'm not doing exercises anymore. I was in shock. I just told her, but just do a few more weeks and get rid of it. She said, no, 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 I'm fine. So
Yeah.
different, wow, but just uh, people are great. And if we choose to see before, I would think that generally people are bad,
Mm-hmm.
because my experience was telling me, wow, I did this and this person did that.
Mm-hmm.
That changed with years, probably in the last 15 years, that changed because all people have good in them. It's how
Mm-hmm.
you get to it. Sometimes people come in a bad mood and they change until the end of the workshop. They laugh and they crack jokes. And this is the way I like to work. I don't like this is a presentation and you do this and you do so many repetitions. It's not about that. It's about understanding how it works, how it will work for you, how will you motivate yourself, how will you adapt those current glasses and contacts to follow your progress. It's many instructions, so it's not general. It's tailored to people with certain problem or problems. And this is people tell me, don't you get tired because you're essentially talking the same thing? I say never, because it's always different people.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. I never was teaching something like this until I did. So I would really think, yeah, you probably get bored like a professor at school. You talk same stuff, year after year. But no, actually, it's very different and compelling. And you meet new people, you meet great people who stay in touch. So this is, for me, really amazing experience.
Mm. And I'm also sitting with your HR competences and how they are might be playing into all of this now, and how it looks like so separate, but
Mm-hmm.
there is no skill that's separable from us when
Mm-hmm.
we learn it.
Absolutely. Human resources in our country here in Serbia, it's more based of paperwork, writing vacations, a little bit of contracts. It's really narrow. And in the US, if you study human resources, you can choose among 6 specializations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, wow, what is all that?
Mm-hmm.
For me, what I implemented in my work the most is, first of all, I have great interviewing skills. I can write resume for anyone. I know how to create a job description,
Mm-hmm.
because when you understand what the needs are, but then you obviously want to find a good match for this. I'm not saying I didn't make mistakes, but it's something that with years I really learned how to do. And then also it helped me, just studying in the US helps you learn how to create process that works, because you
Mm-hmm.
can have a bunch of knowledge, bunch of theory. If you don't know how to pack it into a product or into a process where somebody can, by repeating the process, getting the work done, then you're losing time, you're losing energy, you're losing money, and
Yeah.
you don't enjoy work. So really creating a process from beginning to end, and then improving it, go back and improve it.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it so many times. I still today would read my terms and conditions, when people apply to participate, and say, okay, what's outdated? What changed? Something always changes, like after 8 months, a year, it changes. I'm just not going to leave the old crap there. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make sense. So it really brings looking at the thing holistically. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think people learn it in our country at universities. At least this is not
Um,
a shared experience of people I know, and I know they studied here. So whoever can study abroad, I highly recommend it. You can stay, live there or not, that's another thing. Then that's completely different mind and different dynamic. But really going out there and getting in touch with businesses, with existing companies, because you get access to it. It's not like some knowledge that lays somewhere and then you will discover
yeah.
someday. No, you discover it while you study, and it shapes, what you would like to be working. And okay, this is not for me. I'm not good at this, but I could, discuss with myself to do this. So this
Mm.
really gave me a valuable experience.
And I wonder, talking about a process that works, how did you experiment to find your process? Because I imagine there hasn't been like three
Mm-hmm.
workshops and you are there.
Mm-hmm.
And you also mentioned it took you 8 years to um, kind of
Decide what I want to do.
pivot. Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm noticing myself being quite frustrated with myself. But you've said I wasn't ready, and so maybe I want to hear about why you think you weren't ready. What were the missing pieces, and then
Mm-hmm.
what helped you to then make the process that works.
Mm-hmm. I At that time I was working in IT company where I was a co-owner, actually. So I was doing a full-time, more than full-time job, actually, in developing software. I'm not a programmer, but I was doing software product management, actually, with my a business partner and with our small team of people. So I enjoyed that. But then whenever we finish the work and then it needs to be implemented with the users and all of this stuff, there's a lot of company politics that we needed to fit into.
Mm-hmm.
And corporate world in this region, in my opinion, does not exist. That people just pretend it does.
Mm-hmm.
So you try your hardest. You want to impress them, show them it's possible, and you do all that, and still, you could not make a stable company out of it. It would happen a lot of ups and downs where we would get a great inflow of money and then no money, 6 months living on minimal wage and still being there, not giving up. And this happened quite a
Yeah.
few times. So really, I surprised myself what I'm capable of doing. But then I said, wow, do I really need this in my life? It brings a lot of stress. It brings a lot of change. I cannot plan where I want to go on vacation and when, like simple 10 days. So I was always wondering, could this be better? But then I really loved the people, the team that I work with. For me,
Mhm.
this is half of my working life, the team.
Yeah.
I need to love my people, and I want them to be happy with me. So I will do anything to make them happy, honestly. Nothing is hard for me. But the work itself was getting, after 3 or 4 tries and 7 or 8 years, I cannot even remember, you draw some conclusions there. And
Mhm.
I was organizing a few workshops a year in parallel for vision training, but I could not devote myself to this because there's simply no time. But
Mhm.
still, I always had this. I remember the feeling after those few workshops a year in the beginning. Wow, I feel like I can fly. Like this was the feeling.
Yeah.
The fulfillment, the happiness, and people are just starting their exercises, and then later when they tell you I'm done, then you're happy, then everybody's happy, you get recommendations, and that's how it was rolling for 8 years actually. Then after I decided to quit doing anything with corporate, I told myself, okay, I'm just gonna make a break for a year. I didn't say that like mentally, I could feel it from the inside. I just need a break because I fell apart. It was a complete burnout
Mhm.
with the desires that it was not fulfilled, not with the work. I love
Yeah.
working, but it was just like an empty balloon. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just gonna lay super low now and just not even hang out much with people. I just needed silence, to be honest.
Mhm.
And this was amazing. And I discovered in that silence, wow, do you think you can do something by yourself if you didn't have this, teammates around you, colleagues?
Mhm.
Because I discovered then that I was, questioning, could I do something by myself? Or it's too risky. What if I
Mhm.
fail? But then I said, well, but this, I know how to do it. I realistically don't need anyone. I
Mhm.
have the knowledge, I have the confidence. So let's just see how I want to do it. I don't like social networks, Facebook or Instagram. But then I decided to open Instagram, took some education on it, and started posting some content. Um, that resulted in me getting to some interviews that really blew up. And really, it seemed like it happened overnight, honestly. So that every month workshops are full, both online and live. Uh, and it's been 3 years now like that. And I
Mhm.
always have a thought, so what if it slows down? But it doesn't. So I
Mhm.
wonder why, you know, because I'm,
Mhm.
not active so much.
Yeah.
And I say it's the balance you achieve and the goodness you attract.
Mhm.
Honestly, I'm in peace even if I don't have any workshops. I'm in peace even if I have full workshops or smaller workshops because I say, okay, let's just organize the small workshops and try something different. And I see people are happier and then we adapt and make changes. So this is also being playful with that. You
Mhm.
can teach in different ways. It doesn't have to be this 8 year way. We changed a lot of it. Like I cannot sometimes recognize. We are even implementing the Psych K
Mhm.
in the whole thing because people come and they say, wow, I waited to come to this workshop. And then I said, okay, now you're here. You seem like the wish is fulfilled, but it's not the end of the journey. The journey is just
Just
starting and you need to
starting.
be working on it. And then people are like, oh yeah. So I said, do the exercise. And people are just, oh, I saw it. I know how to do it. I said, do the exercise, because when you go home, you'll be like, how do I hold that crap? you know?
Mhm.
So improving much further than people can even notice. Some people just notice, the pure exercise, and anybody can do it. And we even had some people who visited the workshop and are presenting that they're doing it now. Like, okay, we
Mhm.
are teaching people, and I don't mind. Like, everybody is free to do whatever they like. But it's about reaching these people so they have success, so they do not give up, they don't stop, they understand their blockages. There's people who say, I came here because I know 3 people who have done it, but I don't believe it's possible for myself. Wow.
Mhm.
You know, if you don't believe, it will not happen for yourself.
Mhm.
And it,
Mhm.
it is a universal rule for anything in life.
Yeah, I was just sitting with the word belief and I
Yeah.
was thinking about how how much the self-belief or just being able to um the word is real, it's not the release, but kind of relinquish control.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how much not doing that is also slightly a trauma response, and holding to something that's known because we have already lost so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think Serbia, in a way, no, like taking into account all the things we've gone through, sometimes we can't take those bigger risks because we've lost so much. And so it's like,
Exactly.
if I
Exactly.
lose this one more thing, well,
Yes.
whatever kind of thing. But I wonder, that's what I think when I'm sitting in front of you, there is something about an unwavering belief in what you do. And you've mentioned that it didn't start there. So I wonder, how was this belief slowly built up in you? And it wasn't a fast one, which I think is even a
Mm-hmm.
better thing, because a fast belief maybe is not
Mm-hmm.
thorough enough.
Yes,
Uh,
I always know that fast success brings problems. And I
mm,
never wanted that for myself, because people like to talk in money, like, okay, get a million. If
mm-hmm.
you're not ready for that million, you will make an agony of your life and of
Yeah.
life of people around you. Because when you get that money, you can buy all the stuff that you need. And then is there a purpose? Was there a purpose to it? I don't care for money. Honestly, so many people have come to workshops for free. Kids, adults. How does that happen? I feel it and I say, okay, you please just join us. You don't have to pay anything. And that's simply
Yeah.
how it happens. Um, Getting the confidence and, like you say, unwavering belief that I can do anything I like. If I want to, I can make this in English and go global. The
Mm-hmm.
question is, do I want this?
Yes. Yeah.
Honestly, because it takes a toll. You need to plan really well, organize really well, know what you're doing, with whom you're doing it, because that you
Yeah.
cannot do by yourself.
Yeah.
I have two business mentors in the past 3 years. One is here locally, Jovana Miljanović, and another one is lady from Vancouver. So it's two different, like you said, women from different areas, different continents, where I relate more with the local one, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I always told to myself, if you don't do anything, you're just sitting there and nothing will change. I was never really confident with interviewing. When I went to my first podcast, that was honestly my first ever public appearance. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, you look like an idiot to yourself and like, oh, I don't like myself. I don't even want to listen to it. But other people listened. It had over 1 million views within 8 months, so for this region, that's a lot. And for me, just I don't care how I look. I don't care if I cough now, because some
Mm-hmm.
people are just blocked so much they cannot come out there and tell their message. And I feel so sorry for them, because when they talk offline, I know quite a few women who have their businesses who, when I talk with them, I just want to hug them. I
Uh-huh.
have this feeling, wow, this person is so great. Could you just talk like that, like you're sitting with me at the coffee?
Yeah.
This is the only thing that makes sense in today's life. Stop pretending, stop trying to say a perfect message or how it needs to come out. I will just talk the way I'm inspired and present right now. And that's all that it matters. And because I gave myself this freedom, just go and do that. I still have on the Instagram my firstly recorded Instagram lives. Oh my God, I look like an idiot there. But I listen to it and people tell me, okay, you can now delete it. But I say,
Mm-hmm.
but I like my message. I will not delete them. I told
Yeah.
honestly, and you can sense the feelings there.
Yeah.
That's important because we're all human. I'm not any more fancy than you are, or we are superior now that we are talking online than somebody else. So people just need to come out and tell, whether it's privately, whether it's business you do, whether you're at some school, you need to just be yourself. And you
Mm-hmm.
will find the people who will follow, who will, relate to you, because there's always more people, to share this stuff.
Yeah.
There's not an unlimited set of problems in this world. I think everything comes down to quite a few things.
Yeah. And
Unbelievable.
it's an interesting thing is as well, um you're mentioning, I like to scroll down towards the to the first videos, and I think it's so important to also keep that, not only because you like it or not, but I think it also gives a message that we all grow and we all
Mhm.
change and we all sharpen our messages even for ourselves. And that's why it's so important to not compare with someone's current state, but to be able to see that they had a journey as well. And you've mentioned in the very
Mhm.
beginning, it
Mhm.
was most of the thing happens below the surface anyways.
Exactly. Yes.
So I think, yeah, it's a really important thing, a message to transmit. But I also want to come back also to vision and interesting. So as a therapist, and someone who really works with the body, um someone said that the body um is the best messenger of the unconscious. And almost like the message for you is like you are not seeing something really big.
Yes.
It's almost like, I mean, that's a translation. I'm sure people would find more
Mhm.
metaphorical meanings for your condition. But there is something about, I mean, I do Alexander technique, and it's a lot about what can you let go? What muscles can you, where more in your life can you release? And I'm just wondering, when we speak about the vision training,
Mhm.
what is it about it that you think makes it so effective?
Mhm.
Um, uh, Technically, and maybe say something about how it actually happens. What are the exercises that
Mhm.
people need to do?
The exercises are just physical exercises, the movements you do with your eyes in certain patterns or in certain ways. The exercises are different for different problems, minus diopters, plus astigmatism and eye coordination problems. That's like a one group, but each exercise needs to be tailored to what happens with the eyes of actual person. So what happens there is it's not just the eye muscles, it's the brain,
Mm-hmm.
because our vision system, it's not just our physical eyes.
Yeah.
It, of course, has a lot to do with the brain, because that's where the image is formed. And then also what affects a lot how you see is the health of your stomach, liver specifically.
Wow.
Yes.
Say more.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes people who have vision problems have neck problems as well. Because it's not again a self-standing part. It's something that's
Yes.
integrated with the rest of the body. If you have, well, we say greasy liver, liver that has some kind of diagnosis. Not a lot of people here do detox, but not just the body detox, but also the parasites and the liver
Mhm.
detox specifically. These two need to be done at once, and twice a year, because we are not even aware today what we put into our bodies. Also, what affects vision is the environment where you sit during the day. How is
Mm.
the light? How is the air? The sleep you have or you don't have. Sometimes people have really poor sleeping habits, and this affects that you see with your glasses in the morning, but then midday you cannot see well with them. So you wonder if your diopters grew, because the diopter varies during the day. We are
Mm.
not robots. Nobody set somebody to +2 or -4. You see
Yeah.
differently during the day, and for people it's a hard thing to understand, because they're like, but my eye doctor told me it's this. I said, if you visit another eye doctor measured on another machine, you will get a different measurement, right? They say, yes,
Mhm.
actually. Which one is right?
Mm.
The right one is the one when you put those glasses on, you have optimal vision and your eyes feel well. People don't pay attention on how are your eyes today, because we use them, with digital screens. People go to bed with their phone and all this
Yeah.
fun stuff. People, kids. So this the modern life has brought challenges for our eyes and vision system that did not exist 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. So the life changed. So we need to change the way we treat our eyes if we want to have, you know, uh, clear vision, number one, and if we want to understand what needs to be done to have healthy eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is
And
really
so
important.
what needs to be done to have healthy eyes? Because I am actually noticing at times that I just need to come home and have everything off.
Mm-hmm.
that I feel so saturated by light.
Yes.
And that I really, and if I don't do that, I don't sleep well as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering, um, do you have more information of what it means to nurture your eyes?
Yes, absolutely.
And
Some,
that means basically to nurture yourself. It, as you said, it's not an
Mhm.
isolated.
I know, I know. So what happens when you look at the phone or laptop or iPad at night, at evening before or just before sleep? Again, people scroll and then they wait to fall asleep. The hormone melatonin is not happening if you're having your phone in front of your eyes. And people say, but I put it on a dark mode, or decrease brightness. It doesn't change because the blue light is the one that affects us the most negatively. And this blue light goes from really light blue to night blue. So,
Mhm.
however dark the screen is, the emitting of this is still happening. And how does the dawn look like? In the morning, the sky is light blue. So if you have
Mhm.
it light blue on your phone, your body is getting a message it's not dark yet. And people have severe problems with sleeping habits due to this, especially people who
Mhm.
do programming in front of a lot of screens, different monitors. This happens a lot. So what we need to be doing is get rid of the phone at least 1 hour before bed. That's easy to do. And if you um, use, of course, your phone during the day, try to put it away, further away from your eyes. Sometimes people are in a habit to hold it really close, especially
Mhm.
kids, because they get excited, so they scroll and want to, swallow the phone.
Yeah.
Another thing is with your laptop, or if you work on two monitors, put them further away, 80 to 90 centimeters. This
Mm.
is most work desks are not this deep, so this is the issue. If it's too close, again, there's a lot of blue light effects going with our eyes, and what actually it affects the back of our eye, and some people have even lose their sight because of the damage that happens. And how you feel blue light in your eyes, it stings in the back of your eye. That would be the actual feeling when the damage already exists. So if it didn't happen, it's good, but then move it out. There's filters that you can put on your phone, on the devices you use, and it's called okushield.com, and it's a British company that produces this stuff. Just put a filter on the phone and you can look at it as much as you want without these effects. It's a pretty good protection, not in the eyeglasses, but on the actual device. Because on the glasses, because when I'm looking at you now in the screen, I'm looking directly at the source,
Yeah.
and we need to block on the source, not in front of the eyes. So this is
Mhm.
a different approach. I hope that one day somebody will systematically solve this, so we don't have to think of the ways how to protect us with
Yeah.
devices. Then light in the space where you sit. The white light, fluorescent lights are not good because they are not stable, and they lack probably half of the specter of the colors. So our eyes are being used more than they need to. They get more tired. People who work in supermarkets where there's this kind of lights, or it's blinking, the eyes refocus every millisecond with no reason, like
Mhm.
extra refocusing, because anything changes in the environment, our system reacts, because that's what the eyes are created to do, adapt. So you never see a difference. If it's clear,
Yeah.
it needs to be clear everywhere, not wait for a few seconds to get clear. So it's a really dynamic system. The eyes run a marathon every day, so we need to treat them well.
Mhm.
And eye relaxation exercises are something that's absolutely needed for everyone who works in front of the screen. And it can be a simple 2 towels, hot and cold towel. Just put it across your eyes, change 6 times, 20 seconds each, and just see what happens after only one exercise. You feel like your eyes were in a spa, honestly. And it's something we teach
Now I need to
on the
try
vision
that
training.
one. I haven't.
Really, and do it 5 or 6 times a day. Of course, you cannot do it if you have makeup on. That's what the ladies complain about, but it really makes a great difference.
So basically, you just have a hot and a cold towel,
Yes,
and then
yes,
you put it exchangeably.
yeah. You use the tap water. Like,
Uh-huh.
don't put a flat iron,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to make
yeah.
it super hot, or put it in the fridge. It's nothing like that. It's good. Just use cold water on tap water, or as warm as you can handle. Just
Yeah.
close your eyes, put it like this, cover,
Mm-hmm.
20 seconds. And when you feel the heat is gone, you can change another towel. You don't have to count to
Yeah.
20. So just replace 6 times, and that's called one exercise. So do
Okay.
like 5 or 6 of these. People with kids do 8 or 10 times. Kids love it. So if kids love it, you know,
Yeah.
it's really amazing. There's also a sort of meditation energy exercise for your eyes, how to relax them, because we don't know how to feel our eyes. You know, when I ask people, are your eyes tired? Some
Mm-hmm.
people are confused because it's been going on for decades and they can't tell what is not a
Yeah.
tired eye. They
And
don't have anything
that's
to
maybe
compare.
also something I want to touch is our reference points.
Hmm.
If we are basically so conditioned to live in a high stress, we don't really have like a baseline
No
to,
contrast. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think these exercises might be something that gives us a contrast to makes us aware or like, oh wow, look at this. And I know that from doing Alexander technique when I realize how much I'm doing this. And then when you actually come back to yourself, you're like, oh wow. And then
Mm.
your neck suddenly doesn't hurt anymore.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it takes that contrast, it takes that new baseline to be built in order for you
Mhm.
to jump off. So maybe you want to say something about that as well.
Thank you for mentioning neck, because my neck was always a red flag for me. When my neck starts hurting, and it's not just about because you're sitting at the computer, because everybody is sitting at the computer, I would say, okay, I'm doing something wrong. Sometimes I could not conclude what I'm doing because I was actually thinking.
No, yeah, I know.
I entered completely in a rabbit hole with something, and I'm forcing it where I just need to say, okay, I'm not going to do anything about that, and accept that I will just leave it. Although it bothers me, although I think something needs to be done, just leave it, because what you're doing is not the way. Because otherwise, my body would not react with the pain, with the stomach pain or with the neck pain. These are my weak points, or let's say alert points, uh, for that you just need to notice. If you don't know how your eyes are doing, or your body for that matter, or yourself as a whole, it's a serious problem. We are living so fast today, so many things to get done, so many things you want. It's always the next thing, where I just got super tired of it. You know, okay, you just buy one phone, and then 1 year later there's a new phone. So what, am I supposed to buy a new phone? I can have a phone that's 15 years old. I don't care, honestly. For me, this is just something to do work with, and that's it.
Mhm.
But the constant desire to have more things, where everything you have is within you, and everything you need is within you. Because
Mhm.
imagine poor people who really can't afford anything. Many times I've heard, oh, they're so poor, but they're so happy,
Mm.
because they do not have the media and different stuff does not create the urge that you are behind if you don't have the next thing. You
Yeah.
don't need any, you need very little,
Yeah.
honestly. And
Yeah. I actually have on my mirror, it's written, it's in Serbian. It says everything is already there, sve je već tu.
mhm,
Because it's just that resonates the most deeply with me, but I can notice how easy is, and I asked you already, how do you keep in your own track, but it's really easy to start thinking, oh, I don't have kids, or I don't have an apartment of my own, or whatever, don't
mhm.
um but then actually those cannot even come on a such a saturated life that is kind of almost like swallowing in the amount of
Mhm.
busy thinking, which is not even the productive thinking. So
Yes, and when
uh,
you ask me how do I do it, I have a habit of reminding myself.
mm,
It simply needs to be there, because we are conditioned. It's in our blood that, oh, there has to be something that I want now, because if I don't want anything, then I'm unhappy.
yeah, imagine.
Like, imagine, I need, what is the next place where we will travel? My husband used to ask me that when we first started dating, and I said, no, I'm fine here.
Yeah.
Or like here in Belgrade, or where do you want to go? I said, I don't want to go. I want to be here. But okay, what are we going to do the whole day? Because we're different personalities.
Mm.
And then I learned how I can fit in his world, and he learned how to fit in my world, or just leave me in my world.
Yeah.
Don't push, because if we push each other, especially somebody you live with, it can be really hard because you think, okay, this person is now unhappy that we are sitting at
Mm.
home, and I'm this person. I can spend a long time as much as you want. For me, it's
Yeah.
never enough, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, with books or with some good podcasts, some people that I like listen, I don't have time in this in a day for all that I would like to be doing, but then I select what seems to be important to me the most, because I
Mm-hmm.
want to have time with my family, with my kid, with because this is where the award will come one day. When you see the good or the bad work, of course we'll do some bad work as well, but when you are present and be able to pick up the pieces, because this is your job, and I chose that I wanted this. I chose to
Mm-hmm.
have a child, let's say. And when I didn't have it, I felt everybody was judging me, so I can relate to that as well.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
pass 30, it's
It's
red
almost like
flag.
your clock is ticking. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So
And how has being a mom changed you?
that was the biggest challenge of my life,
Mm.
in a sense that I'm so happy to have her, and I'm spending, and thankfully my work allows me to organize my work around my life, let's say around my child, and not the other way around. And I'm with her every day, every morning, no rush, spending these precious moments that I'm just telling myself, I need to memorize this. I need to memorize. I don't want to
I've heard
record it with the
I've
freaking
heard
phone. Like
yes, yeah.
it's here. It needs to stay here. Because I really like I followed everything, every change. I was there, and I dreamt that I would be able to do this. I would not be able to do that at the age of 27, 28, 30,
Yeah.
but it happened later. But anyways, I got my goal, and I'm
Yeah.
happy. On the other side, I was not aware how much time, how I would feel in terms of where I want to put my hours. So I did not organize my work really well
Mm-hmm.
around this change that happened in my life. So I had to spend a lot of time in the beginning reorganizing stuff, like you said, like we mentioned, the process, and certain things need to change forever. And
Yeah.
for me, it was hard to let go because I know those things work well. So why would I change? But you simply have to. There's more important things that you want. So it was challenging. There may have been some postpartum depression as well,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with which some people talk about, but I don't think enough, uh, because you lose who you were, in a
Yeah.
sense. Your time, your sense of yourself changes, and what is your
Mm-hmm.
role? Fitting into the role of mom, because nobody teaches you this and
Yeah.
cannot. You simply need to become, and then
Yeah.
reorganize, regroup. I had a lot of support from my husband, from my father, from again male figures, amazing, amazing. That's how from many people, but I like to talk about the two of them. Um, they are those who observe to see how they can help. They don't
Mm.
just tell me what to do. I don't know what I need to be doing. I cannot tell you what to do. Then you just frustrate me more. But it just again took its time.
Mm.
Uh,
And actually, that's something I really reflected on recently, and I spoke to some friends who had children. Um, yeah, how much and one person I interviewed, she said it took me 4 years when I was the first time to actually enter into this role because it's a completely new
mm-hmm,
role. I
mm-hmm,
mean, when I'm with a baby who I'm not the mother, I can choose to be there for 1 hour, for two
mm-hmm.
hours, and then I can choose to retrieve. I
Yes,
think for a mother, it's a bit different. I don't know. I don't have the experience, but I imagine the choice to retrieve is completely different. You do
yes.
retrieve, but it's not in the same way I would have the physical distance.
Yes, it's amazing responsibility for another human being, especially where they're super
Mhm.
small, for sure, because you're like, everything I do impacts them. Even if I'm in a bad mood, I know I'm bringing
Yeah.
her not good things, but I cannot hold myself
Yeah.
sometimes. It
Yeah.
just, whether you are crying, whether you're screaming, whether you just want to disappear.
Yeah.
I would come out to, like, she would fall asleep and I come out to walk around the building. I cannot move further than 35 meters. You know what I mean? It's just, what if
Yeah.
she wakes up? Well, what if she wakes up?
Yeah.
But at that time, in the first few months, the body, the chemistry, the hormones, it's something
Strong.
I highly believe you do not have control of. It's not about the
Yes.
mental. It's not about conscience. It's subconscious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you are feeling alone in the role, I heard that uh, um, there's husband, there's everybody's helping, but the woman feels alone. Like,
Yeah.
uh, there, because there's just certain things only you can do, especially if you're breastfeeding. Then
Yeah.
the child is dependent on you and you chose it that way, but then you
Yeah.
cannot go wash your hair. So
Yeah.
that's, wow, nothing like that in the world. For
Yeah.
me it was just like, this experience needs to go well if I consider to have a second child,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's you, really, the
Yeah.
stories you tell yourself. But again,
Yes.
time needs to pass so that you can see from a greater distance and say, that wasn't too bad. It was just the first baby. So you're
Yeah.
inexperienced completely and feel insecure. And this is so sacred to you. Jobs, taking risks with that, for me, anytime. And I feel
Yeah.
comfortable with taking risks. With this, I could not recognize myself.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I think that's what I'm in the internal process of thinking, how would I treat myself or my inner baby in a way? And then I start to realize, how am I abandoning myself?
Exactly.
So you
Yeah.
start, I think it really becomes, it comes here to realize, how am I not supporting myself? How
Hmm.
am I not feeding myself? How am I not sleeping well? How am I not taking the right care for me? And
Hmm.
for someone who I imagine you being fast-paced and kind of finding ways to kind of put yourself aside, I
Yes,
think
absolutely.
this might be a big suočavanje. I don't have the word,
Mhm.
but kind of
Confrontation.
confrontation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
When my baby was 4 months, I decided that I'm going to find somebody to help, because
Mhm.
until that time I was with her 24/7. My husband was present a lot as well. But still, I said, well, some things my team cannot do. I need to be doing it. So, do I feel comfortable completely being out for a year? Because it's just the law, it's just what the law tells you, and, well, the environment, that
Yeah,
you're a bad
yeah.
mom if you don't
If
want
you
to
don't want,
give
yeah.
that up. So I found a lady and said to myself, I'm just going to try and see how I feel about that. Felt
Hmm.
terrible for 2 weeks, and she would only come for a few hours, 3 or 4 hours. So let's
Hmm.
just see how it goes. Our babies with a stranger. Wow, all these feelings you go through. But I told myself, if you're going to keep doing this, it's, again, no good for anyone. Why don't you just take your laptop, agree with yourself what you're going to accomplish today for an hour or two, or however much focus I have. And I felt so much better, because, wow, I've done this. Then through the door comes a happy mom.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know I have new energy. I can do anything again. So, and it's always small things. Sometimes I come back, well, quite often, and actually reply to emails, basic
Mhm.
emails that I have people to do, because I want to see what's going on, and I want to never forget that any time in life you can come back to that. Why do you think it's always going to go, high and up, 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 up? Sometimes, there can be stagnation, or things can be, let's say, on a hold, because there's a new big leap waiting for you. But then you just come back and do the little craft.
The
You don't
little.
have to always build a bridge.
Mm.
So for me, this always, and it keeps me grateful,
Mm.
because
Mm.
when you get into having enough money that you can help your family, not only finish your business but help others, and do help others, sometimes you feel like, well, this is something I can count on. It's simply there.
Yeah.
and you forget that you can be on a top, whatever, and then you need to be able to do all the cleaning below if it needs to be
Yeah.
done, and small jobs. And for me, it really keeps me in touch with the people who write, because these are live people. This is real people that you are talking to. It's not just reply anyhow. You need
Yes.
to, because you don't know who is writing in what kind of mood, in what kind of challenge. So it really, your work, my work, anybody's work who is working with people, yours specifically by title, we know you're there for us.
Yeah.
I think that everybody can have a sense of that, because even if person is acting out in a way, I've had that on my workshops where a person was just not happy, would get up and talk in front of 40 people, stuff. I would just let them finish,
Mm-hmm.
because there's always some kind of pain behind that. It's impossible that I cause you pain. We're just learning exercises. And I tell everybody, you're not allowed to leave a workshop without knowing what to do for yourself. And this is your responsibility. And my responsibility is to teach you. So let's have this agreement, because it's so important. Uh, the understanding that the other person has issues that you don't know about does not give you a right to dig through that,
Yeah.
but you need to have words, you need to find ways to get on a common ground. And
Yeah.
I think if people would do this more in families, friends,
Yeah.
co-workers, some skill would be great. And I think, dear Alexandra, there is a great opportunity to teach people this,
Yeah.
not only work on these deep, deep, deep problems, but just let's learn what on the surface we can do to communicate, just communicate with poise, not poison.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Wow,
sometimes
you've just made a you've just made a headline for a workshop.
exactly. I'm good at that stuff. People use
Yeah,
me for that. So
amazing.
if you need any ideas, I'm here. We can talk about
Yeah.
it really anytime, because it
Yeah.
all comes down to human relationships.
Because that's really it actually what I want. And I actually it's really funny. I don't know why maybe you've sensed something, but it is I actually really believe in building a workplace where we have skills to communicate in ways that is
Absolutely.
building bridges,
Hmm.
and kind of helps understanding, and being in a therapy training group, um, in these volatile environments where we are able to change jobs if something doesn't work,
Yes.
it leaves no place for
Hmm.
actually building relationships where people work through things. And I was really lucky that in my therapy training, I was with a group of people now for almost 3 years, and in a way they don't allow you very specifically to leave a group if you have a problem, which is really nice.
Hmm.
And it's a very healing experience to come and to say, this is how I felt, this impacted me in this way, and be able to work through these things and not just put them under a rug, go to the next thing, because I feel like we've forgotten those skills, of being with each other,
Hmm. Yes.
because of how much, in a way, we have the choice of not being with each other.
Yes, absolutely. Starting from the phones and then changing environments, like you said, this is amazing.
Yeah.
People like changing hats, but this is again live people, real people around you. And for me, a success cannot last if you don't implement this. You can have a good year, but then I wonder, when I had my first great year, not good, great year, I wondered, this is something, but how will you maintain this?
Hmm. Hmm.
How do you see yourself? How do you want to feel? Who do you want to work with? How do you want to keep this team around you? Because again, team of people for any job that simply requires people is
Yeah.
half of the happiness in that.
Yeah.
So you really need to ask yourself, and to ask what kind of communication skills you have or you don't have. Because for some people, I come off as arrogant, direct. I am direct. I want to be like that because that's how I feel myself. I feel
Mhm.
that's me. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I don't want to be too strict to like hurt you without like recklessly speaking.
Mhm.
But I want to tell you the truth. I want to tell you how it is. And in work environment, it has helped me a lot actually. But people, like let's say colleagues, sometimes I would not work with them really well. And I
Mm.
thought, why this person does not? Sometimes I wanted to belong, even that I didn't. Whenever I forced that and just wanted to, like be in that group, it simply didn't work.
Yeah, it
Amazing.
never does. Yeah.
I also discovered at 14 years of playing basketball and changing 6 basketball teams, two teams where I didn't play well were teams where I didn't click with my teammates.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a pain.
And
Like
that's an
I hated
important
it.
thing to say, how much we
Yes.
think our success is
Mhm.
connected to us only, but how much support and good communication is actually what helps us flourish. And
Mhm.
so I'm totally not against changing what it feels like the place you are in is basically the poison in a
Yes,
way.
absolutely. Yeah, there's toxic environments, and this was the kind actually where
Yeah.
there were always small groups of girls. This is the black girls, this is the blonde girls, this is the international girls in the U.S. It was amazing. Like there's
Mhm.
no one team. There's 4 groups in there, and nobody was functioning with anybody. It was just that I was bothered. Other people were not.
Yeah.
And that's where you just decide, okay, this is too much energy, I cannot change them, but I can change
Yeah.
for myself, and this is what
Yes.
you do. But when you get into an environment where you click well with people, simply enjoy it.
Mm.
Honestly, it's amazing, and those are the best years of my playing basketball. It has nothing to do with again money or whatever we played for free just for a t-shirt, for
Yeah.
sneakers, honestly.
Yeah.
So this was the best years, the best experience, learning how to lose, how to win, how to handle
Yeah.
anxiety,
Mm.
different things. Amazing.
And as I'm listening to you speaking, there's a thread about you that is being quite meticulous and caring about the things you
Mhm.
do and quite present, or at least striving to be quite present in your
Mhm.
motherhood, in your work, in your, and so how do you cultivate presence?
Sometimes I put too much pressure,
Mm-hmm.
too much expectations from myself. I can be unrealistic,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I have a short. I don't take too long to notice that that doesn't work. When I
Mm-hmm.
notice, okay, this is what I'll do. I notice, okay, it doesn't work. Whether I don't feel well, whether I'm not achieving, whether I'm dragging to-do list to another week and another week and another week. What I do in those moments, I just delete everything, because that means I don't have to do anything but take care of my child. Nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
cook for her, I myself, and for us as a family. And this is what I feel happy doing. I ask myself, do I like to cook anyways? You know what I mean? I said, well, I actually enjoy it when I have time, but I needed to give myself time to notice that. Otherwise, it would feel like, too much work and it's every day. I want to have a fresh lunch and so on. Because for me, food is very important, because what you put into your body is who you are.
Yeah.
You put the best gas in your car, but then you go and grab McDonald's. I like McDonald's, but
Yeah.
very, very rarely. So
Yeah.
I decide what's really important, and it comes down to basic human needs, which is
Yes.
amazing.
Yes,
Like I
that's what
actually
I'm sitting with lately.
I love it because it's so simple. Like
It
we
is
think it's too
simple.
many things. Life is very simple. I sound wise, but I again mess up quite often when there is a new project that I take on. I always have to go through this cycle.
Yeah.
You need to trial and error.
Yeah.
Well, error, no. Well, let's regroup and do something differently, or just postpone it. When I don't care, 2 3 years, but I know it's going to happen for me. And I learned that something significant that I want to do. Okay, it's a great idea. I feel it. It's something for that is for me, and it's mine to do. Let's say, but it's not a good time. Now it's time for something else. See what is that else that you need to be doing
Yeah.
now, because sometimes we are like kids. I want to choose what I do. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
tough.
That's an important one because I've learned that from my boss actually, observing how he kind of goes with the flow because I have this energy of like we need to do it now and then but then I've learned sometimes the field needs to constellate for that to be the right moment for the thing to be published in my line of work. And I really realized how important it is to notice the timing, but I think it's a little bit coming from Serbia and having this kind of having the scarcity, thinking, well, like now has to be the time because we don't know, something like really hard can happen.
Yes, that is
It
true.
takes time for me um to remember that maybe we're not in the war anymore. Maybe it's not the time where things will just collapse into themselves.
Hmm.
Maybe we can actually wait. And now with the age, and even the war kind of, it's a gap to do something different.
Absolutely. Many things have
Yeah.
flourished during the war, and I'm not just
Yeah.
saying bad things, but
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with Corona.
Yes.
Whatever
Exactly.
that was, same thing happened. And
Exactly.
I believe that we live there, even if there's no war, we still live in an unstable country politically.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it was, for me, I just feel it will always be like that because
Yeah.
simply of our position and the surrounding countries and everything.
Yes.
But what I tell myself, your work and what you know is up here,
Yeah.
and you are taking your head everywhere with you.
Yeah.
So even if it's the darkest of times, you have some knowledge to help you, yourself, your family, friends, other people. You have the skill, you have the
Yeah.
knowledge, and you can work from anywhere. This
Yes.
is something that gives freedom. Not all the
Yes.
jobs are like this. I completely understand that. But I'm saying if you can choose, you need to gravitate toward this, honestly.
But I also think what I've learned is that in a way you can always find inside yourself things that are of support to others that then can become a job. But we get
Absolutely.
stuck in this idea that it has to be the job
The job or
and
the
look.
school you finished
Yeah,
and
the
all of
school
this.
you finished. Yeah, yeah. So I just wanna see because just to respect the time, just to see if there is anything I haven't asked, but you feel like a burning desire to share that we haven't really touched.
My God, I think we covered so much that I did not even dream it would come out this way in your and my conversation here. I'm so happy that that you reached out to me and that we were able to record this conversation, this podcast. And I hope it will bring a lot of value to people who listen and just take the message that is for you. Not
Mm,
all the messages are for everybody. Whether you take some education or work with somebody, there's actually very little that you take. You cannot remember
yeah,
hours or days or months of education or content, but there's always something. What is for you will come to you. You will feel it.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. And so I just want to add, because we didn't touch upon being a
Mhm.
woman and being supported by men. I think
Mhm.
you peculiarly have that in your experience.
Yes.
And I would like to just touch upon how did you keep your womanhood and
Mhm.
still were able to be contained by the men around you?
Yeah, this was for me never a challenge, honestly. I found harder to function around the women environment of same age, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes it would be comparison, competition. For me, this is time wasting, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started working after I graduated, I finished my school. It was men environment because it was information technology, so there's
Mm-hmm.
mostly men. And I started simply being open to learning from them, to how do I talk to them, how do we function together, and I developed many relationships with friendships. One of them is my godfather. So it just was amazing how much they are honest, direct, which I like. They don't go around the bush, they just tell it straight. They do not use many words, which I do use. So probably it was nice. So I have my space and they have enough space for them to say what they have. where with years, all of them stuck next to me. Actually, we're still together, although we don't work together anymore, but we reference each other and talk about any challenges that we have. So for me, that's really great. After being so much around men within the last 2 years, I said, wow, I need to return to, there must be some women out there who I can function with, whether it's hanging out or talking about business or talking about just anything. And I did find a circle through, again, business mentors, which
Mm.
there's, of course, women alike who have really the same values, I must say, or most of our values, we share common values. That's where you recognize you belong and you can talk about, well, anything that the subject is about. So this really provided me the balance between the two, because at one point I wondered, can I have a female friend? You
Mm.
know, and I enjoy the company more of older ladies, older than myself, because
Mm.
those women have wisdom, and I simply have more topics, more of the things that interest me. I can talk about more with them.
Yeah,
So, but
that's
this is really
interesting. Most of my, well, not now, but for a long time, most of my best female friends were older. And
yes,
yeah.
I enjoy that really, and
Mm.
I think it's great to have different circles. Like have variation, not stick with more of the same people.
Yes.
Sometimes people are just like, oh, these are just my high school friends. I say, yeah, you're 35 now, or 40 years old. Do you have anybody else? Just because you need somebody fresh. So,
Yes.
and you can always change that. I believe for a long time that if it's not your friend from school, you cannot build, because circles are already taken. Nobody left
No.
for me,
Yeah.
because I moved a lot, and then you just leave everyone behind. So, and that would be a huge, feels like a huge loss. Like
Yeah.
well, like where am I supposed to go now? So
Yeah.
that everything can change. Just
Yeah.
look for what you want to have and
Yeah.
enter, just enter there.
I
Everything,
really like that.
yeah, just take it, like I actually had a colleague, and his wife is one of my great friends today, and we were just there for a coffee, talking and talking, and I discovered I like her, not my colleague. So I just told her, will this woman feel strange if I tell her, because she's some 15 or 16 years older than me? I just asked her, like, can you and me go for coffee and talk our stuff? And she said, why not? Like
Yeah.
I had the struggle, like I'm asking her on a date.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And
Like
that's another important point is how important are different relationships. That
absolutely.
that romantic relationships are not the be all and all.
No, yeah.
And having different support systems is really, really important.
Yes,
Yeah.
I told my husband, this of your friends I like, this one I don't. Like they don't have to know that, but just for you to
Yeah.
know. So you go and have fun with them all you want. This
Yes.
is I simply, well, will not accommodate to the extent where I don't find anything there for myself. So
Yeah.
it's a time waste, energy waste, energy leak. So no,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's an again like a really fair I love that. I will not accommodate to the extent
yeah,
that
no.
is, yeah, I like that.
So we are precious. We are my business mentor Jovana jokes. You are not a precious snowflake, and I say, like, there's some rules that
Yes.
stand for everyone, and I completely agree. But I told her, is it okay if I treat myself as a special snowflake when I choose where to be and not? She said, absolutely. So
Yeah.
okay, so that's great.
Yeah. And then the last kind of quick question. One is like, what compliments do you like to receive?
About how people feel in my company, because
Mm.
those are precise. When people really feel it, they know how to say it. You know what I mean? Uh, but mostly, what I like when people feel about me, because that's what I try to achieve, is that I'm present and that I'm there. When a workshop lasts 2 days for 5 hours, are you there the whole 5 hours? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely, you can be, because you are in interaction. It's dynamic. It's you know, so that I'm present and that
Mm.
they feel heard.
Mm.
It's a clear message that they understand, the clarity that they get on either what they need to be doing or just what it's all about. because
Mm,
there's higher sense. It's not basic stuff. When you want to do big
yeah.
things, it's not really just basic stuff. It's a little bit more understanding about deeper systems that work.
Mm. And yeah, the word being present is the best present comes to mind. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And is there an absurd thing about you that not many people know about? Something that, now that we've kind of got the flavor of who Gorica is, but something that from what we've just said would completely not compute.
Oh my God, there probably is. Let me think.
Sorry.
That there must be. Oh God. Well, I live in the city, but I have a house in the countryside. So I want to go and completely retrieve from the city now that I have a kid. And this will happen in the future. I know that. And just spend however long time there. And for me, it's amazing that I found a husband who would follow that.
Ah, oh, wow.
Because I was so skeptical because this was a decision made within myself before I met him. And then when I presented the whole thing, I was really scared because he is the city guy. So
Mm,
actually, this is amazing. And
mm,
I would probably never choose to live in a big city, like a
mm.
super big city.
Mm. And
I
I'm
think.
sitting with, we didn't speak about
Mhm.
how you found him, but I wonder what it took inside you to find someone that supports you in the way you want or need.
Let me tell you, when I found him, I didn't know I found him.
Oh,
I Because some things are okay, we're alike, but some things are obviously different, and I just had to learn his language, honestly, to
mm,
recognize that he supports me, but he has a different way of how he communicates, of how he shows stuff, of what he does. For me, it was a revelation because sometimes we tend to think when things work for me, I think, okay, this is probably the best way for most people.
yeah.
Well, it wasn't for him at all. Like he completely sees the world differently, and the way how he functions, it's much more simple than me. So I learned a lot from him. And we like to joke he's 2 years younger than me. I said, wow, you can learn something from a younger person. You can learn. I've learned from kids in my workshops. Like you just,
Yes, absolutely.
wow.
Yeah.
So I actually needed to learn how to communicate with him because my way was kind of dominant and pushy. Because, I
Mm.
have all the proof that it works. So I
Ah,
just say it with confidence, and it seems like this is what we do, this is the way. And actually, it can be done differently and much lighter, just somehow nicer, with more peace. I told you it was the hard at the beginning of our conversation. The
yeah.
hardest thing is to achieve peace.
Peace.
Yeah,
So he kind of balanced you out on
absolutely, because
someone.
he because we're not so much alike.
Yeah,
Actually,
which
if you
is yeah.
yeah, it's amazing.
And
Like
and
it
actually
bothers
I
you.
think being able to be with someone who is different is the highest achievement.
Yes, and
Is not the same when it's we are seeking.
yes, because I used to fight a lot in my
Mm.
relationships. Just I don't know what I was fighting for. Now, when the time has passed, you're like, what are you fighting? You're fighting against something you believe is threatening for you,
Yeah.
because that way may work as well, and
Yeah.
then you would be happy that it works, but you are scared. The fears inside you of your security, that inner child
Yes.
is just wanting to stay the same place because it's checked, it works. Let's do this, let's do that, let's go there. Don't
Yeah.
do that. Why you do that like that? I mean, wow. Had to change a lot of my language, which I never used for the outside world. Like internally, we function a lot differently. Actually, I used to curse a lot
Mm-hmm.
because that's just the dynamic in my family, even when we joke. So
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't come out well, and sometimes you're sometimes at the age where you're just like, I don't need this. So a lot of changes happen.
Mm. Thanks for sharing this. Thanks
Yes,
for yeah, I just want to thank you for the vulnerable conversation we had.
thank
It
you so much.
feels It feels like I definitely learned a lot, and I was pondering what workshop I will gift at the end of the year, and it's going to be called Communicate with Poise, Not Poison. I like
Exactly.
it. I
Perfect.
like it.
And you are perfect for that, and you know that
Yes, yeah, thank
because
you
you
for that.
understand what it's about.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. So I think it was, I think that's also why I think invited you as someone who I aspire, business wise.
Mhm.
So I've really learned a lot from just you being you. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And we'll grab coffee someday.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You have just heard the story of Gorica Mijović, the founder and CEO of a vision training school in Belgrade. She has been doing these vision trainings for children and adults since 2013, and she's trying to impart practical knowledge on how to fully recover their vision, including problems with the function of the vision, through exercises. Her mission is to let people know that there is a choice that does not involve wearing eye aids for the rest of your life. If you want to connect to her, you can find her on Instagram, and if you like and enjoy these stories, please share and subscribe so they can reach more people.